So here you are, studying for college finals in your dorm room. Studying is hard, but not when you have your favorite podcast to listen to. Oh, what's that? You just ran out of podcasts? Well, good luck studying with your roommate, singing with headphones like he's trying out for The Voice.
Bismillah, no, we will not let him go, let him go!
If only you subscribe to the AAA Podcast Extra content, you'd still be bopping along to our hentai episodes, our hobby addicts, and our after parties. You might not be able to play video games during finals, but at least you can hear us talk about them. And you wouldn't have had to kill your roommate. Don't kill your roommate. Head over to aapodcast.com/join or Patreon today and support the podcast. Again, that's aapodcast.com/join or Patreon. I need to get myself some more podcasts.
Get ready! You're about to listen to the Anime Addicts Anonymous Podcast. Make your anime addiction worse at aapodcast.com. And now, here are your anime addicts.
Hello everybody and welcome to the 621st episode of the Anime Addicts Anonymous podcast. If you're new around here, we talk about anime and we try our best to make your anime addiction worse. There are three of us here on this podcast. Myself, Mason, I sound like this. With me today are my two friends, as I alluded to. The one who's been here the longest and sounds like this is Mitsugi.
Check out my melody.
He often raps. Non-stop.
I'm in the house. I got some water. I'm a Hydra homie in a...
Oh my goodness.
In a Zelda cup.
Ooh.
Very large Zelda cup. I'm eating a protein pancake, and I'm very happy to be here on this fine day. That's about it.
Well, with the red shirt, with the red chair on the red background.
I'm looking jacked. Back to you, Cotton.
Looking real thick, my boy. And the other host, the fresh meat of the podcast, that sounds like this, is Caroline.
Hi. Hey, how's it going?
Fresh meat still being here for
meat.
It's
well
been a
over
year, Mason.
Yeah.
Enter the Butcher from Diablo 1.
I don't get that reference.
Well, it's because you're a youngster.
Oh my goodness.
You're
But,
not old
yeah.
yet, Caroline.
Yeah, the fresh meat that we... Anyway, welcome. We do the thing, and then we also do bonus things like hobby addicts and hentai episodes and after parties and all these things that you can support us through by financial indecisions, mistakes, whatever you want to call them. But we always appreciate it. And you can go to our website at AAA Podcast to get all that bonus content, as well as submit mailbags and requests and just everything you could ever want, as well as access to our Discord, as well as our TikTok, as well as our Twitter, as just all the Facebooking. The kids still Facebook, right? That's a thing. I don't know. I'm out of it. All I know is anime. Still leave those iTunes reviews. We love reading them. I read them every day, and they're a bunch of fun. But in this episode today, we are going to be playing our fan favorite game of Anime Shark Tank, where you guys submit your proposals for an anime, and we, the sharks, will determine, is that a good idea or
we make
not,
fun of you.
and if we will fund it. Yeah. It's
With
either
our $0.00.
Exactly. We will either fund you or make fun of you. Those are the two ways that the cookie crumbles, as well as a review of Ranking of Kings, a joint that we've been looking forward to for quite some time. So do you guys have any other news before we get into actual big news?
Well,
No.
when you write your 5-star reviews, remember, the password is I love Moe. or if you don't love Moe, the password is Moe sucks. So just include that in your review. We'll see who ends up with a higher total, but get to it. You now have your homework.
There we go. Yeah, we'll see what side wins in like a couple weeks.
All right.
Let's do it.
it's time for big news of the week.
Well, I haven't even watched the second half of the final season of Attack on Titan yet, but apparently there is going to be even more Attack on Titan. So there was an update. It was thought that Attack on Titan wrapped up that second half of season 4, I guess, and then a short clip came out and confirmed that part 3 is on its way for 2023.
This is getting ridiculous.
You can't escape. It will never end. Attack on Titan.
Don't call it the final season if you're gonna break it up into 3 parts.
Yeah, honestly, every single season of Attack on Titan, it's like part 1, part 2. Go fuck yourself, okay? Those are different seasons. Attack on Titan has like 43 seasons at this point. Does anybody care still? Are we still in on Attack on Titan? Caroline?
I want to be watching it, but we've had 2 consecutive weeks of 2 core shows, and we have 86 coming up. I have not seen the first season yet. I've just started it, and we have season 2 we're going to review in a couple weeks. And I have to watch anime club shows.
Gosh, Louise.
And I'm trying to watch Slow Loop. Slow Loop is so freaking cute and adorable, and I love it.
Slow.
But I don't have time for that, and neither do I have time for Attack on Titan. So it's going to be done soon, but I probably won't be able to finish it even by the time this 3rd part comes out.
Well, I don't know.
I think
I had to
people
get
still
that off
like
my
Attack
chest.
on Titan. My coworker, who knows very little about anime, his wife is more the anime fan of the group, but every month or so he'll come and be like, "Oh, we're watching this Neo Vigeli Jenny's what's," and we'll be like, "Oh, this is the okay, pretty cool." But this past month he's been watching Attack on Titan, and he just whipped through all 4 seasons, so he's up to date. He's past me now because I've been watching part 2, and now he's the one who's like, "Oh, I can't tell you that," but he's really vibing it. So by word of my coworker,
okay,
Attack on Titan still slaps, and I'm excited to check it out.
I just wasn't sure if Attack on Titan had hit like had gotten officially the My Hero Academia treatment yet, where it's like the biggest thing that ever happened, and then by season 4 no one makes a peep. Like
Well, that's already happened to Attack on Titan once, sort of. With the end of the first season, everybody thought it was like, oh, it's overrated. And then the second season was like, meh. But then the third season, like, oh my god, this is the breaker of all things that is anime. This is anime kind of thing. And
well,
now,
I know we're doing the What Have We Been Watching segment next week, and I'm going to try to catch up to Attack on Titan. I'm still not going to spoil nothing, don't worry.
You better not.
But I hope to have thoughts for next week. So
oh wow,
we'll see if I have time.
Oh my god, with all these
honestly,
2 core
I don't
shows,
know if I'll have enough to talk about for what we've been watching next week, before the reasons I've already listed.
Well, it was a little brutal having 3 2-core shows in a row to review, so we did swap Demon Slayer for this next week, which is pretty short. So maybe there will be. That was the Caroline's request, so
it was fine with you guys because you've already seen the first season of 86, but I wasn't around for that review, so I didn't put in the effort of watching it, and now I'm paying for it.
Oh my gosh! Well, it's just a very shameful thing that you've done.
Of the first 2 episodes I've seen, it is pretty good.
Where the hell's my shame drop? Where is it? I can't find it.
If you can't, Caroline's pretty good at it.
You're off the hook. Shame.
Shame.
Ding.
Shame.
Ding 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 ding. Oh,
She's got the bell. I knew
God.
she was good. She keeps on elevating it.
She's very prepared for that. I wasn't expecting that.
Yeah, I
New
do have
proposal.
a bell. Not for that reason, but it's
Anyways,
here.
so
If we
that
get enough
purpose.
subscribers and like financial support, I vote that we get rid of the soundboard for Mitsugi and just give Caroline the full gamut of like Foley effects, so she has to like do it all in person.
That would be awesome.
Listen, if we break 1,000 reviews on Apple Podcasts by this time next week, I will come on this podcast, wear anime attire, and say I love Moe. How about that? You just heard it. You got to break 1,000 Apple Podcast reviews by this time next week, and I will.
How
I'll
many
make
do
that
we have
happen.
right now?
We're in the upper 800s, so people got some work to do.
Yeah, sounds
Listen,
like
if
it.
I did that and then you did that, we would definitely make merch out of that. That'd be the first.
We
merch
keep
drop.
on talking about this merch thing, but it's not getting off the ground. So
If anybody wants to make artwork for this merchandise, please contact me on the Discord. That's really where we're stuck at. So, okay, that's all I had. So,
well, for me, I hear that Made in Abyss Season 2 has been announced for July of this year. So
Okay.
it came out along with a new key visual on the Made in Abyss website. And so, yes, the Golden City of the Scorching Sun has been set to be released in July of 2022.
Set ablaze.
Yeah, they really love these very descriptive titles for things. Because Dawn of the Deep Soul, that came out a couple of years ago and, kind of follows that same similar vibe. But it's been 5 years since the premiere of the first season, so that's pretty crazy to think about. It's been that long. With
a name like that, you can just go with all kinds of like words. You're like, it's gonna burn you up. This shit is gonna be hot. It just never ends.
As in, like on the posters.
Yeah. Just like the city, you said it was called the City of the Burning Sun or something. So
the Golden City of the Scorching Sun.
The Scorching Sun. It's gonna burn it up. Yeah, I don't know. It's endless.
The Golden City of the Scorching Sun sounds like an Elden Ring location.
Definitely does. 100%.
I'd play that level.
It all goes back to Elden Ring, doesn't it, with you two?
Pretty much everything.
We should just rename this podcast to Elden Ring Addicts Anonymous.
If you guys don't subscribe to our Hobby Addicts episode, literally the past 4 or 5 episodes, the last 20 minutes has just been Mitz and I just going off and Caroline being like,
if you're wondering what I do, I just zone out and play a mobile game.
And
during that time, that's literally what I do.
And I'll tell you right now, Pancake is the most patient fiance ever, because she's sitting there watching me play Elden Ring, dying over and over again, feeling sad, looking up all kinds of information. Very patient. So round of applause. Yes. Okay.
We like Pancake.
Yeah, we like that. All right. So yeah, I guess we're on Mason now.
I'm excited. I'm hyped. Yeah. My big news, not anything super brand new, but just the massive slate of anime coming out to Netflix. Just the list keeps on growing, with Kotaro Lives Alone coming out earlier this month and Third My Rome Nove, whatever you call it, just coming out. I was like, dang, Netflix is just getting more and more stuff. And I feel like, yeah, you could argue Crunchyroll or something like that gets more anime, but those are like, that's a anime specific platform. Like Netflix is in so many different homes. I feel like it's kind of interesting to see what the casual observer might get subjected to in their like scrolling. So I don't know if you guys looked at this, if there's any titles you're more or less interested in, but some of the big ones that come up, at least for April, you have Tiger and Bunny season 2, which I had no expectations that we were going to get any more of that. Ultraman 2, Pacific Rim the Black 2, so a lot of tokusatsu type stuff. We've got a new movie called Bubble coming out the end of April, which I'm kind of excited for. I'll definitely be talking about that, as well as sequels to Ghost in the Shell 2045, a new Spriggan in June, and just a lot more, including new JoJo near the end of the year. So Netflix is really going in on it. I don't know if I'm excited for all these shows because they don't always have a winning record, but it is nonetheless interesting. I don't know if there's any that you guys were excited for.
I'm looking at it here. I'm mildly interested in Pacific Rim, mildly. How many of you have seen the original Spriggan anime?
I've only heard about it, but I've never...
I haven't even heard about it.
It's a really disappointing movie. They came out after Akira came out by the same creator, I think, and it's like it's just an action movie. It looks like the character designs are similar to Akira. But it'll be interesting to see that come back. Let me just see what else they got on here. I saw Army of the Dead. That sounds interesting. Okay. That'll be interesting. Cyberpunk, which is like the game but in anime form. That sounds interesting, but it's Studio Trigger.
Which is why I am excited, and probably why you are not excited.
Well, I mean, yeah.
If we're being honest.
Yeah.
Drifting Home.
Okay. Blood of Zeus I've seen.
Okay.
And it's fucking good. And it's coming out. Season 2's coming. So Pancake just looked at me very excitedly. Yes, Blood of Zeus is really solid. People should watch that for sure. I didn't know that was anime though. So Record of Ragnarok could be cool.
Who knows? Who made this list? But
this is a great list.
Devil May Cry. Are you excited to see an anime of that?
There's a Devil May Cry.
Yeah, coming out.
Okay, so
there's another Devilman Crybaby, and I'm like,
no.
No.
So there is already a Devil May Cry anime, and it is terrible. So I'm hoping this is not that. But I got to tell you, like, just looking through this list, it sounds like Netflix is really going for like the out of left field, not tropey anime titles. I mean, there's There's one in here of like this one called Exception. Sounds cool. It looks like a horror show.
Yeah, it's been
Promo art
announced
looks
for a
creepy
while.
as heck.
With designs, with character designs by Yoshitaka Amano. Are you fucking kidding? I mean, that's the guy who does all the concept art for Final Fantasy, and he's like, I've actually been to an art gallery of his in Japan. This guy is like, he's a bit of fool of himself. He's like, I'm gonna sell my art for like $25,000 per work. And he's like, but like that's pretty shocking.
If you can do it, you can do it. I don't know.
This Laser Hawk anime sounds cool. The animation looks pretty neat. So, Record of Ragnarok looks dope as shit. Blood of Zeus. This is a great list. Wow.
I mean,
Yeah,
they got
some of
Mila
this
Kuma's
is-
theme park adventure, super
Hey,
dope.
I liked season 1 of that, so
Oh my
that's like the
God,
stop motion, cute, fluffy thing.
The
Yeah, so some of
Akuma's
this
theme park? What?
is like not quite technically anime. It's done by American stuff. Hey, I'm excited. Don't hate on Rika Kuma or whatever.
Didakuma. Oh my
Ryakuma.
god.
It's
Okay, yeah.
I
cute.
mean,
It's
of
adorable.
the list, I am not really familiar with a whole lot of this. I mean, of course, I'm familiar with Tiger and Bunny. Never seen it, though, so I can't say I'm excited for the second season. But I have heard about Bubble, and I am excited to see what that's about.
What is Bubble?
It's a movie, and you'll find out at the end of this month.
Well,
It's
so is it safe to say you guys are pretty excited?
Moderately. I just like
For, like,
seeing
one
anime come
thing,
to
so.
good platforms that work really well. So
I don't think I've ever been this excited. You're excited? Feel these nipples.
All right.
I can't say I'm that excited.
Well, are you excited perhaps for our main topic, which is anime Shark Tank?
Yes.
Who are the sharks? They're self-made business experts worth billions. Mitsuki is a self-proclaimed holy man and a world-renowned enemy of moe girls, raised billions for his church through the Kick the Filth into the Pit of Anime Hell Foundation to lead the fight against moe. Mason, retail empire king and all-around food fanatic, started a grassroots movement and raised $500 million through his new retail food-themed line of skin creams called Pleasures of the Flesh. Caroline, a once humble social media giant turned queen of all media when she founded Otome Radio and built a net worth of $5 billion, blanketing the world in Otome radio waves. These are the sharks, and this is Anime Shark Tank.
So as you may know how the rules work, you, the listener, goes to AAApodcast.com, submit your anime Shark Tank for an anime that you would like to see made. You tell us the name, episode count, studio, genre, a brief synopsis. We're not looking for long essays here. Just get to the point. Tell us why this idea will make us and you and whatever money, and we'll let you know thumbs up or thumbs down. We may hurt your feelings. We're gonna try not to, but
I
that
don't
really
give a
comes down
fuck.
to your the value of your idea. So be warned. It should be a good time, and
Fuck
we're
your
just gonna run
feelings.
through as many of these as we can. And once we get more, we'll do it again. So if you like the segment, don't forget to submit your idea. If not, just sit back, relax, and let us roast some people. Sound
We're
good?
looking for elevator pitches, but some people get very detailed.
I just want people to know that I'm pretty sure the website has like a character count. Like it's like don't go past to 150 words or whatever. Like some of these are really, really long. And I appreciate the effort. You put the effort in to write something that long. But one, it would be great if you guys could proofread your entries. And two, try to keep them to like 150 words or so because otherwise I got to come in here and cut them down, which I did not do today. And you don't want me editing your work.
No.
But we also
If
can't
you-
read something for like 16 minutes. So although
If
I
you
do
really
love
want
you
to
guys.
write that
We're
much,
not good with words.
just go to iTunes and give us a 2 out of 5 for like they didn't read my entire Anime Shark Tank subscription that was 50 pages long and it's okay.
The password
anyway.
is Mitsuki can't read. That's the password.
Yeah, you really
okay?
can't.
Yeah,
he
so
just
come
he
on.
just wings it.
The
And
longer
somehow
your-
he's
listen,
correct.
I'm not gonna lie. The longer you guys' posts are, the more I feel personally attacked because you're saying, "Oh, look at Mitsuki's got to have to stumble through this and actually do some reading for once." So, oh my god, who wants to go first?
I was elected to lead, not to read.
Yes.
Is that a reference?
It might just be.
Okay. I need to
Is it
have.
Blades of
There should be
Glory?
a button for you to drop. There should be a drop for when you guys make a reference, just so I know it's a reference I don't understand and not
that-
just something weird. That you
Was
guys
it Blades?
know.
Was that Blades of Glory?
I believe that was the Simpsons movie.
Simpsons. Oh, you're right.
Like,
Okay.
Was it Schwarzenegger that they were?
You sort of sounded like Zoolander or something when you said that. So
Oh yeah, maybe. What is this? An anime shark for ants? I'll go first.
Okay.
So this comes from Enmonat, and the name of the show is Our Valiant Brothers. Watashitashi no Yukanai Kyodai. It's going to be 26 episodes long,
I'm
done
out.
by either studio. Yeah, we've done enough two-core shows over these reviews. Just give us 13 episodes or less, and we're happy. 26 episodes done by either Bones, Wit, Mappa, or Sunrise. So you're trying to get all the best ones. I mean, good selections, my dude. Composers, Hiroyuki Sawano, Toshiyuki Watanabe, or Takayuki Hattori. No, you're just picking the best of the best out here. And the genres are political, military, drama, shonen. The synopsis
Okay.
is, in 1936, in the coastal kingdom of Aurelia, 17-year-old Franco Giordani is enjoying his carefree life in architectural university, completely oblivious to the political turmoil of the world at large. Aurelia and its longtime continental rival, the Halian Empire, spark war following a border dispute with Aurelia's protectorate ally, the Principality of Malaya. My goodness, all these continents, my dude. In the heat of war declarations by some nations and the activation of protection treaties by others, the global powder keg explodes into combat practically overnight. This is the story of the Great Continental War, Franco's part in it, and the brothers he makes and loses along the way. This sounds like 86, but more realistic, maybe? I don't know. It just seems like a setup for a typical war story, which we honestly don't get very often in anime. Like a grounded
It's true.
thing. Like we get Golden Kamui, which is like does have a realistic war as a backdrop to an absolutely batshit crazy northern Japanese gold rush where they try to find treasure maps on the back of tattooed prisoners, which is definitely more anime sounding.
It's pretty dark.
I don't know. Maybe this could be sort of like, oh my goodness, what's the anime club show that you guys just watched?
Couldn't tell you.
Wait, what?
Caroline, the
I would
like
know,
gangster
but-
one, the one that you
Oh,
voted for.
91
is one-
days.
Yeah, where it's kind of like a realistic, like typical type story, and I could see that being here. I guess nothing in here is sparking or jumping out at me. It's like, oh, I definitely got to see that.
Yeah, for me, it just sounds like a good setup for a political show. But if you wanted, if the title is Our Valiant Brothers, and you want to focus on this guy named Franco, we really don't know from your synopsis what that's about. It's more of your synopsis is taking its time in establishing the political situation that they're in, but you kind of need to tell us like why should we care about Franco? Like what's his story going to be about and that kind of thing. So that's the drawback for me.
I just think there's not enough anime boobies. So, no.
Calls it how he sees it.
I mean, isn't the shonen genre is for kids, right? I mean, that's pretty much the. I mean literally
that's
the word
most
shonen.
objectively, it is for yeah.
I
it's
mean,
the demographic.
is Vinland Saga considered shonen?
I
That's
I honestly
seinen,
don't even know
I
what
believe.
it's considered shonen these
I don't know.
days.
I think shonen means like young boy. So I do young boys like politics? I'm just trying to figure out like the exact target demographic, but unless it was like really well done, and I'm guessing the creator of the post assumes it would be. I don't know. I guess I think I'm out. I think you threw a lot of like high budget shit at me. We got like Hiroyuki Sawano in here. We got high profile studios.
It's gonna cost a fortune.
Gonna cost a fortune to make. 26 episodes too. It just doesn't sound like enough people would want to watch it. And there's no big anime tittied girls to sell PVC figures. So I think I'm out. I think we were out on this one.
Yeah, props for
Unfortunately,
putting in the
yeah.
Japanese in the title, though.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Kanji
honestly,
movie.
there was a lot of work that they put into this submission, which is pretty awesome.
Not good enough.
You have a lot going here. I think a rewrite is in the call for. So, but thank you very much. We'll check back with you next time.
I've written it for you.
This is
that
such a
doesn't
special
happen very often.
Okay.
In cash, I know because I like to watch it flow. When I ask valuation, I want no hesitation. Are you worth $10 million?
Hell no. Biatch. All right, next post is from WavyF. Fall/return from grace. Artists rule the world, and it's up to intellectuals to take it back. In this, are they saying our artists are not intellectual? In this half shonen, half drama anime, a young scientist, Sei, gets fed up with the unruly, unstructured world of the artist and dreams to one day impose rigid structure on society with rules and laws binding this global free-for-all into an organized showcase of pure wisdom. Holy shit. I did not understand any of that.
Like the reverse Shimoneta.
However, in order to do so, she must take down the most popular artists in the zeitgeist one by one with facts and logic. Only after all of the top 10 artists in the world are defeated can Mochida begin her societal restructure, but along the way, she meets historical figures, bombastic characters, blah, 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 blah. It sounds...
Okay, you need to finish their synopsis. Give them that respect.
And wary allies who may convince her a balance between the two is the correct solution. You know, even though you won the last Does Mitsuki's Mom Know, I think this one sounds a little bit boring for me, so I'm out.
Well, should we finish their money-making ideas at least so people know what they were going for?
No, because it's too long, and we're going to be here until 10 p.m. tonight.
Okay, well...
I mean, you can read it I can read it if you want, but, you know, plushies, figures, posters, iPhone cases, and more, maybe art books, though only if a series gets popular. 12-episode series, potential setup for a movie, would make hella bank thanks to the broad appeal of attractively put-together, glasses-wearing, smartly mature characters.
Yeah, I'm reading the subtext, which just sounds tiggle bitties, and it seems like... No, I'm kidding.
Well...
Yeah, it just seems like a reverse Shimoneta, where everything is like artsy and fartsy, and there's just chaos, but it's like a beautiful hippie like concoction. This person's like, no, we gotta. I'm just picturing this like Senku from Dr. Stone being like, no, we have to make progress as the human race, or otherwise we're just floundering and not getting anywhere, and we need to, I don't know, save the world with. It would really have to come down to like characters that are compelling and smart, and that's not always easy to do. So
for me, I feel like this idea is just very simple, like black and white, like it's the intellectuals versus the artists, when the world's not like black and white. It rarely is. So I know this is an idea for an anime, not realistic, but it just doesn't feel, I feel like an interesting storyline needs to be more complicated than intellectuals versus artists, and for whatever reason they can't see a gray area. So unfortunately, WavyF, I am sorry, I can't put my imaginary money behind this project.
She's out.
I can't watch you kill money that way. Children are going to watch this.
You know, Kevin,
they're going to watch you kill money.
That's the beauty of the show.
You're murdering money in front of children.
Oh my goodness. Crazy stuff in that show.
Yeah.
All right. Up next, we got an application from Sejinther. Is that how is that how we're saying it now?
Sejinther? Yeah.
We always butcher it no matter what.
And Sejinther's on the Twitch right now, waiting to be butchered.
He's just in time for his own
Weddings.
application.
For your funeral.
Submission. Okay, well, we will see. So his submission is Re-Death of All Isekai, 4 exclamation points, the animation.
Re-Death.
I love all the thought that went by that.
Isekai
It's the most anime title of all time.
We love it.
And He put the Re, he put the Isekai, he put the exclamation points, and the animation.
It would have been better if it was a semicolon instead of a hyphen, but you did a good job.
That's okay. We love it.
That can be. Are you changing that for him?
Yeah, I'm gonna change it for you because that's what you meant. Okay.
That's
now I'm in. Take my money. I don't even know.
Okay. So let's see what they got here. Soda is your everyday 20-something company man on his way to work when a demon lord appears from nowhere
Lord and
to
Lord.
destroy the city and stomps him dead.
Okay.
Soda awakens in front of a pissed-off god who screams, "That was another returning isekai protagonist. I've had enough with these so-called gods effing up my amazing creations by summoning a bunch of nerds with power fantasy delusions. I'm gonna go bitch slap these motherfuckers. Some sense." I'm trying to bleep myself, but it's not really working out.
He is smiling knowing that he purposely gave this one to Caroline. Because
Did you really?
No, I think I have time to
Okay.
read these. I didn't read these. Are
Okay.
you kidding?
I'm gonna go bitch slap these mother effers. Some sense. I want you to take what you want from my storeroom and go kill all those world jumping shits. So,
this is quite some god.
yeah. So armed with a room full of armor, weapons, and magic scrolls, Sato, I think that was a typo. So it's Soda, works his way through the list that God gave him to be the death of all isekai. The money-making scheme is this. Get all your favorite isekai character models seconds after their deaths. Decapitated, set on fire, eaten by rabbits, slowly being dissolved into a giant slime. You can get them all.
Wow. Okay.
Thoughts?
I just heard a lot of cursing.
Yeah, imagine if this was actually a Shark Tank and someone comes in and just starts being like, "Here's my pitch," and he's like, his tie is all like loosened, he's sweating, all his papers are like crumpled up, and he's just like swearing. Like that'd make an impression.
Let's see. What would they say on Shark Tank?
Is Sota going from place to like isekai to eliminate the summoned protagonists from within those isekais?
Let's see. Have you sold any product to date? What would they say on Shark Tank? What percentage of stake of your company are you looking for? I don't. Honestly, it just said, you know what? Fuck it. It's a lot of cursing. It's a lot of non-self-importance. And I can't do it. I'm out.
No, like I could
No,
see
I
this
don't
like
think-
tapping into a similar vein of like Konosuba, where it's like an isekai that like is more about the fun than the isekai components of it, and it just Sota goes around. I guess I'm just a little unclear on the concept, but I like how it was short and sweet, and it has isekai and it has exclamation marks, and that's probably all it needs to be successful. Like as an artist, which I'm not a fan of it, but it would be successful. So as long as you got some like cruddy studio to do it, I could be convinced.
All right, you got Mason.
Well, for me, I think that I need a little bit more in your synopsis than a lot of cursing. I think I need more on what this show will be specifically about, other than just Soda, going around and killing isekai protagonists. I need a little bit more other than like the cursing god as well.
How big are God's breasts? That's really, I think, the make or break it.
We need your measurements. We need
Yeah.
that in there. No, please don't do that, actually. I like the idea, though. I love an isekai parody, and I think that's what he's going for here with all this silliness. So I love the idea. I think we need a little bit more reworking here, and I don't think that they would have the ability to take favorite isekai characters and use them as your money-making scheme because, royalties and all that. So I think we need to rethink a couple things.
Oh, man.
I would love to have another version of this in our next Shark Tank with my critiques taken in mind, if you don't
boy.
mind.
No, new ideas, new ideas.
Nom nom.
It's a big mistake with me on this one.
Okay, well, you like swearing, so I guess that was
There
appropriate.
we go. That was perfect.
All right, next victim.
This one comes to us from God Emperor of Dune, who's also in the Twitch chat. So get excited.
Goddamn
The title
right.
is
Yeah.
Strange Encounters with Normal People. The synopsis: a tightly knit friend group consisting of middle-aged alien salarymen fed up with their boring lives decide to take a drug-fueled space road trip as a way to reclaim their lost youth. One night they partied too hard and passed out with the warp drive on. They wake up hundreds of light years off course, fuel tank empty,
hangover.
and also crashing through the atmosphere of an unknown planet. Surviving the crash, they must now navigate this unfamiliar world whilst avoiding capture and extermination. The planet is Earth, of course, in the 1940s, the site of their crash, Roswell, New Mexico. This will be 6 30-minute OVAs, money-making scheme, Blu-ray/DVD releases with multiple editions, unique cover art, as well as optional alternate endings, which is different for each edition. Merchandise line, graphic tees and whatnot, exclusive NFTs of one-of-a-kind alternate OP and EDs sold separately. So, really getting in on the new era of
taking people's money,
financial manipulation, which I love. I love that so much. I'm seeing like a little bit of, man, I cannot think of any anime today. Space Dandy, something like that
too.
With each OVA, like obviously, I don't know if they get like each alien like gets caught and gets on their own individual adventure, or if like as a group they try to stay together. But a mix of like Space Dandy and Dead Leaves, I think if this was like a Trigger type show, would be like a bunch of fun. And I guess I don't know enough about Roswell and what's like going on with Area 51 in the 40s, but I'm sure that could mix in with like deep lore. I mean, Naruto running was a thing back when that was like a meme a couple years ago. So you know what? I'm in. I like it.
Wow.
I also am a fan of this synopsis. I like the historical fiction aspect of it, and the and bringing in references to real life conspiracy theories and all that. Overall, find it very interesting, and I think I would enjoy watching it. So I'll put my backing behind this.
I don't like OVAs because OVAs don't go on TV. So usually they're like spin-offs of established TV shows, unless you're like in the 80s. And because of that, I don't think that too many people are going to know what the hell this is, because they're going to have to see it on a shelf somewhere, I guess. It's not going to be on TV, so I'm out because I don't think enough people are going to actually see it. But it doesn't matter. Congratulations. You so rich and powerful.
Is that another reference?
It's not. All right, the next one is by an unknown submission. A man named Joe Chavant works 2 jobs to keep his family fed in a 2-bedroom apartment in the slums of Chicago. But one day he works in the 5th story of his office building in advertising. By night he is a pizza delivery man. As his days go on, he thinks to himself, "Man, things are bad, but I have to keep going for my family." Looking to the clock tower his apartment is located next to, strange things start to happen, and he can't sleep at night because he has a fear that he will dream the same dream that he has been having for quite some time, where his family is falling into darkness, and no matter what he does, he cannot save them. One day at his office, the building starts to shake, and he thinks nothing of it, but all of a sudden, people in the office start to scream as beams of light shoot upwards towards the sky of the building. And the building starts to shake again, but this time the building collapses, and Joe is the only surviving person in the rubble. As he gathers himself together, he looks up and sees a nightmare. Scenes of Armageddon. There are demonic creatures farming and slaughtering humans as if they were cattle. Joe looks to the clock tower to see if his home and family are still there. And as he does, what is a 30-minute walk from home to work turns into a 50-mile-long crater as the devil himself splits the earth in 2. Good Lord. Joe will do whatever it takes to get his family to safety, even if that means going into hell itself. And Joe now has the power Joe has no power except the power of will. In this horror and anime glory, blah blah blah. All right, wow. Sorry this for the long story. Yeah. That's like an anime where we're trying to create the most intense like scene of destruction you can possibly come up with. I kind of like it. It sounds very exciting. So I want to see a guy go into hell itself. I think I'm in.
So it seems like the big thing to make him separate is that he wants to put in like unique music, like grungy rock and stuff like that. So I'm trying to, like, on one side this could be like a super generic, edgy, run-of-the-mill type thing, but it also could have, like, with a real unique art style, tell a powerful story. I mean, with horror and gore and like weird adventure, grunge rock, that could be a unique twist on what we normally see in anime. So, I don't know. I need to peruse it. What do you think, Caroline?
I'm kind of in that same mindset because I'm not entirely certain with this description because I think it might be too much, perhaps. Like Armageddon, it's kind of like a very big idea
Yeah.
that I'm not entirely sure can work in this anime, but that's just my opinion.
It really comes down to... Sorry, go ahead.
I'm just uncertain. Overall, just uncertain.
Like, to me, it comes to style. Like, if you're like, oh, Silverlink is going to do it, I'm going to be like, this is the most generic, edgy, run-of-the-mill light novel adaptation I've ever seen. But if you told me, oh, Yuasa's doing it, it's called Devilman Crybaby, and the devil's coming down and Earth is splitting and rapture is happening, I'd be like, okay, now we got something.
It has to be, the production value has to be there behind it. Because if there's anything less, people will just be like, oh, this is just too much.
You know what? I'm going to say it's good because it takes place in Chicago, which is my hometown. So we're going with the lowest common denominator, baby.
With you guys backing it, I think I'll step out on this one.
All right, next.
All right. So we got one from Avernail. And the name of this anime is called Screw the Meta, I'll Win with My Favorite Monster. And it's set in a monster collecting VR MMO. The main character wants to win the big PvP tournament with his favorite monster. The only problem is that his favorite monster is considered waifu trash by most serious players and not worth the time to train. But he knows there's more to this game than just stats and flashy moves, so he will travel far and wide with his glitch hunting friends to find the skills, strategy, and maybe even bugs that will take him and his waifu to the top. We'll merchandise the show with figures of the characters and monsters, art books, and even games that are definitely not MMOs, probably not VR, and may or may not feature monster collecting. So,
I sympathize with this character. Like, I don't care about tier lists. Give me the NU tiers any day. If they're cute, I'll use them. So, that said, I kind of like it.
Wow.
I kind of like it. It is getting into the game mechanics world, but it's not an overdone isekai. I think a lot of the game worlds we've seen recently between, like the MMO show and even the one with maxing out defenses. Like, I think those digested better than like isekai. So it still goes into the wish fulfillment. It still has, cute little monsters for merchandising, and I think that you could have it like a good bond of friendship. You could have a powerful story. You could have good action scenes. Like, I think it can touch on a lot of things at once. So I like Screw the Meta. I'll win with my favorite monster.
Caroline, what do you think?
Based on the fact that I am a big fan of Bofurdy, I really enjoyed watching it, even if it's not like, more slice of life, just about characters enjoying playing a video game, even with its glitches and all. So this kind of feels a little bit similar to that. And at first I'm like, I don't know if I'd really watch it, but based on the fact how much I freaking loved that and similar shows, I think this has something behind it. So I will also back Screw the Meta.
Nice.
I like it as well. It sounds like a fun sort of take on isekai / Pokemon maybe, and it sounds like something that a lot of people would watch. Plus it's an isekai, so it'll definitely be the most watched anime of the season. So I'm in. Congratulations. Lots of money being given out right now.
We started off with a dry spell. Now we're like, you get money, and you get money, and you get money.
I mean, the money is imaginary, so
exactly. In a change of pace, this next one coming from Cabbage Bro, maybe Avatar reference? I don't know, but I like it. The title is We All Want to Die, 12 episodes. People across Japan have been committing suicide for seemingly arbitrary reasons, from spilling food on their clothes to just getting a hangnail. It has become an epidemic. The MC is one such character. After he got a paper cut, he decided he had enough and tried to end it, but a goddess appeared before him and tasked him with the mission of stopping people from committing suicide for arbitrary reasons. Did someone just watch Platinum End?
Yeah.
Maybe. It quickly becomes evident that there is something more sinister behind these strings of arbitrary suicides. The market for dark humor is huge, as is and it is a market that is not often catered to by anime. The episodes would consist of the MC having long-winded, fast-paced back and forth with the people he's trying to save about their arbitrary but extremely absurd and complex reason for ending it. This is certainly a dicey proposal. It could definitely fall onto funny, or definitely like
kind of tactless.
Yeah, it's kind of tactless. I could see it either way. Like, I'm picturing almost like a Sakamoto Deska, like someone who's like saves people in such a weird, off the wall way, but usually he's not saving them from, like, I guess it really depends on what the sinister force is, but it seems like a very risky proposal, and dark humor, while is, sometimes interesting, might not go over well if it's done with any carelessness. So I'm a little bit of a fraidy cat, so I'm probably going to back out.
Yeah, I reflect similar feelings towards that. It's hard to walk a fine line between dark humor and being a little insensitive. And I'm not saying that you specifically are insensitive. It's just that I would be a little bit nervous with a show like this. So I think I can't really back this one.
I'm out because I can't handle, even though I think you're kidding, I cannot handle any more anime where people just talk and talk instead of fighting. I just can't do it.
After Babylon, after Platinum End.
Yeah.
We can't deal with people talking about suicide.
Unless this character is saying bang, 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 bang a lot, then we got something in the works, but...
You're really intriguing because you get these shafts of white light and pure thinking in between a wafer of nut bar factor 6.
All right. Who's up next? Oh, it's me.
Oh my goodness.
Yudo Kuna Sedai or Gen Toxic. Oh, what? Okay. Ninetales. Ninetales submitted this. It's 16 episodes. It's done by Madhouse in the style of One Punch Man. Saido is a 16-year-old gamer, artist, and high school student whose life has been heavily influenced by negative media and toxic internet culture. Already having experimented with popular drugs and dealing with the loss of his parents, he's living alone, very much done with life. After constantly praying for help and seeing no end to his despair anytime soon, he decides to take his own life.
How many of these are we going to get?
He's very happy right now. Due to a technicality in the way he kills himself, he is allowed to stay in heaven under one condition. He must work for Jesus. Let's see here, giant parentheses, and he encounters other deities who, much to his surprise, totally exist and aid him in developing unique abilities of his own. Unfortunately for Saido, the devil has his own recruit, Zetsubo, which means despair, I think, and will stop at nothing to keep humanity depressed and God-free. Can Saido overcome the devil's attempt to drive people to an early grave? Will he get the explanation of what exactly is going on in heaven, and why all these deities are even there, and why did God wait so long to save and purify this toxic generation? Wow. What do you guys think? Where do you want to start with that?
I don't know.
It says your licensing agreement with Funko and other figures will create a monetary thing. And anyone who brings in Funkos as their proposal, I have to be out for it. Like, no offense, but Funkos are Funkos. Like, come on, man. Like, no one likes Funkos. No one looks at a Funko and be like, I want that.
And there are a lot
Funko
of
Pops are fucking
dumb.
I want that.
It just looks so dumb. Yeah, kind of. It seems like Death Note mixed with Saint Youngman, and I feel like both those things are best kept separate. So I'm not saying it wouldn't be a bad idea, or it wouldn't be a good idea. It just doesn't seem. I'm not saying it. It's not coming together for me, and I'm just very hung up on the capital F Funko that is invading my headspace. So I'm out.
Yeah.
Caroline?
Similar with the last one, I'm just not really feeling this kind of idea. Maybe it's because Platinum End was so recent. But yeah, sorry, Ninetales. It's just not for me.
Yeah, I mean, I didn't it does sound like it would piss a lot of people off potentially, which could be humorous, but I think I'm out as well.
Here's how I think of my money. Soldiers. I send them out to war every day. I want them to take prisoners and come home. So there's more of them. Your army, every soldier dies that you send out every day.
That was
A lot of death
drop.
in these last couple
Can we
episodes.
stop with the deaths, please?
All right, next.
Okay, next one. I'm hoping this doesn't have anybody committing suicide in it. Okay.
Oh, even better.
Kaiju! Exclamation point times 4 and Keijo! Exclamation point times 4. So I guess Kaiju, Keijo. Think Monster Musume X Keijo.
Yes. Yes,
this
they
is
heard the
not-
request of the biddies.
This is not the story of a young demon girl battling her way to the top of a competitive Keijo scene. No, this is the story of Takayasha, a one hot demon girl princess who uses her large breasts and finely honed assets to dominate the
I love her
massive industry of interspecies Keijo.
of a
Unlikely
bitch,
to
I'm in.
fall while on water, but Kondo Anna is lighting up the rankings with Dora Gay not so far behind. Okay, it's a lot of words.
Oh, yes! My queen!
Okay, it's 12 episodes made by Lerche, money-making ideas. Besides the anime, an uncensored Blu-ray to be released, including an extended scene where Octopus Girl uses her
Say the
Yeah.
words. You were giving Mitsuki such a hard time for not reading
Okay,
everything.
side note. I don't know if I mentioned this on the podcast before, but my uncle and his 2 young sons are staying here for the night, and I think they just came upstairs, and I really don't want them to listen to what I'm about to say.
Okay, I will read it. I will
Thanks.
read it.
Listen, Tentacle Onslaught just happens to the best of us.
Besides the anime, an uncensored Blu-ray will be released, including an extended scene where an octopus girl uses the quote tentacle onslaught to catch Taki off guard. Collectible figures, including a limited edition adult line of Nendoroids that are double the price of the regular set, as well as body pillows, and other small items rounding out the merchandise line. Yeah! I'm in.
I feel like this was a massive joke, but they listened in the future to everything we said earlier.
Yeah, I
Not
mean, this is
Funko
basically
Pops,
just High School
adult
DxD.
Nendoroids. Yeah, this will make so much money.
Yeah, I mean, High School DxD pretty much made $1 billion, so, because people are a bunch of pervs. So, yeah, it's pretty easy.
And they got the exclamation marks.
Swallow
They've
your
got
pride.
Keijo puns. Did we say who wrote this?
I did not. Sorry,
Cameron.
it's Cameron. Yeah.
Sorry, I don't know if you wanted us to reveal your secrets, but I'm in, my dude. I'm game.
He's a rich man.
I'm gonna leave it to you guys.
I mean, this is one of those things where like I finance it, but like under a different name, so like it can't be tied back to me. But I think this would be successful. Like I don't like it. I wouldn't watch it. Like this would be a really fun hentai episode to make fun of, but listen, money talks. And I'm
Bullshit
hearing
walks,
it loud and clear.
baby. All right, let's see. Mason, you're up. This is the last one.
The last one. Let's see. What's our record? How many have we passed and how many have
We got
failed?
3 overall.
Yeah,
Okay, that's pretty good.
Yeah.
This one comes from Anime Lover Augustin, titled The Impossible Love Between a Pop Idol and a Small Town Man, 12 to 13 episodes. As one of Japan's leading pop idols, Hina has all she ever wanted, including wealth and the admiration of all her fans, but when she escapes to a small resort town to refresh, she runs into a kind young man who helps run his family restaurant named Hikari. Through a series of events, Hina and Hikari keep running into each other, and Hina and Hikari slowly realize that they are falling for each other. Hina is distressed knowing that an idol with a boyfriend is taboo, and thinks of the times she has had to reject romance in the past. Hikari is also alarmed when he finds out Hina's occupation, because he promised his elderly parents that he would run their restaurant, and being with Hina could endanger that. Will a romance between these two even be possible? The show will explore Hina's world as an idol, as well as the parasocial relationships with fans, impacts personal relationships. Also explored is Hikari and how one deals with their own desires, even when it means possibly disappointing loved ones. Money-making schemes will be a light novel adaptation and a movie/OVA to come. Hina has several beautiful friends in the idol group whose figures will sell well. and there will be special songs commission, ... We got the picture. So, Idol and Small Town Man, just as the title says. What do you guys think?
Sounds very similar to a Hallmark movie setup minus the Christmas. I have to say, I like these kind of ideas. A character-driven drama with an OTP that you want to root for. So for me, I think it's something that there are quite a few of these, but if it's done well, could be profitable.
I think I'm out. I'm just not feeling it.
It seems fine. I would probably watch it. It just seems standard. And here at Anime Shark Tank, we besides big breasts, we like the ideas that pop and we wouldn't see otherwise. And this seems very safe. Not saying we want to go to the other end of the spectrum where we're, maybe poking fun at suicide, but this seems a little too following the script. So we're looking for a happy medium between them. And while it was well written and it got the point across, and I could see, the family dynamics, I could see the childhood friend who becomes like the love interest rival. Like I could see this all play out in my mind, but that's the problem. I've seen it so many times that it's not exciting me. So I'm out, but it's not a bad pitch.
Listen,
you
go downstairs, get a bottle of wine, you look at the product, you set it on fire, you drink the whole bottle, and the two of you come to peace. Right. It doesn't work.
I'll back it, Mitsugi.
Oh my goodness.
Oh, sorry. I thought you already went.
You really jumped everything there.
I thought you went first.
Well, we had two people that didn't back it anyway, so it's still gonna get the drop.
Oh, I didn't know we were combining funds.
Oh no, but it's really fun to hear those drops anyway. So but there you go. You got one person.
I think out of all of these, the one that I think is the one that I would pick, the one that's guaranteed to make money is the one with the boobies. Let's be honest, but
it is guaranteed to make money, but I don't want your booby money.
Yeah, but I'm gonna pick
money.
I'm gonna pick the one with that was like the Pokemon, but screw you.
Screw the meta.
Screw the meta, wherever that one is. That was my favorite. What do you guys think?
My favorite, I think, was Strange Encounters with Normal People.
Yeah, those were my top two. So I'll stick with that. I guess what was the other one we passed? Oh,
Read Death of All Isekai.
Okay. I guess if we all have to pick one.
So funny to say.
I'm stuck with that one, but not that I'm stuck with it.
We didn't pass that one. I think we just liked the idea of it, but it just didn't work out.
Well, that's good enough. There's lots of scoring. Fine, I'll go with that one. There we go. We gotta. Would you guys watch any of these, or which ones were like, nah, you're sleeping on it? Let us know in the comments, in YouTube, and Discord, anywhere. We'll read it.
And
we
of
course,
love everything. Send us more Anime Shark Tanks so we have plenty of them for next time. So let's get into the weekly trivia question here. In Ranking of Kings, the Sword King is named Oken, a Japanese compound word made up of O and Ken. What do these two kanji mean in Japanese? And we will confirm the answer right after the news break.
Hey, Anime Addicts, Mitsuki is here, and I'm bringing you your anime news break, starting off with the 2022 Manga Taisho Awards. So the 2022 list is the 15th edition of Manga Taisho, an annual Japanese award that is given to manga. The award is decided by a panel of bookstore clerks who select the best title of manga series that have fewer than 8 volumes and have been releasing at least 1 volume in the last year. The top 3 winners were Hirayasumi by Keigo Shinzo with 66 total points, Look Back by Tatsuki Fujimoto with 68 points, and the winner, Darwin Jihen, a sci-fi property from Shun Amezawa. So if you are a fan of manga, you might want to check these out. And you can also find the entire list online. There are a considerable list of titles that I did not read. Next up, Masamune's Revenge, or The Revenge of Masamune-kun, is getting a second season. It was announced, titled Masamune-kun no Revenge R. It is in production. Silverlink did the first anime season with 12 episodes back in the winter of 2017. And the series adapts Hazuki Takaoka's romantic comedy manga, which was serialized in Comic Rex magazine from 2012 to 2018. So if you are a fan of Masamune Kun's Revenge, look out. More is coming out pretty soon. Next up, we have one more new anime adaptation announcement, this one being a rather big title, I think. Shinka no Mi, Shiranui Uchi ni Kachigumi Jinsei, The Fruit of Evolution. Before I knew it, my life had it made. An anime series has been announced. It's going to be getting an anime adaptation. The first anime series, produced by animation studio Hotline, aired in 12 episodes in the fall of 2021. It was simulcast on Crunchyroll. The synopsis is that one day a man claiming to be a god suddenly hacks a certain school's intercoms, ordering all students to team up and prepare to be transported to another world. There, they are given special skills in the hopes that they will become the world's heroes and defeat the Demon King that ravages the land. So, looks like an isekai, and if you're a fan of that kind of stuff, look out for the property, The Fruit of Evolution, coming out, I assume, pretty soon. And lastly in the news, we have Bandai Namco Holdings, which is doing some Gundam talk. They have invested $130 million to develop a Gundam-themed, quote, metaverse, and they have now released some details. The metaverse platform will be a, quote, fusion between physical and digital services, allowing users to purchase Gunpla through the platform and also upload images of their Gunpla and as well as data. The platform integrates categories of the Gundam IP, such as toys, anime, music, and games. And there will also be an esports colony that will launch in 2022, focusing on the Gundam Evolution and Mobile Suit Gundam Operation Battle 2 free-to-play games. So a whole bunch of Gundam interesting news coming out here, as well as new animes, besides. So if you're a fan of Gundam, it hasn't been all that prevalent in the news, but it is still hanging out, and there is some cool stuff in development. This was Mitsuki, and this was your anime news break, and now it's time to get back to the podcast. Hey, Anime Addicts, this podcast is brought to you by nobody. And if you want to help keep this podcast ad-free, you can go to www.aa. You know what? Honestly, guys, if you haven't supported the podcast by now, there's literally nothing I can do to make you support the podcast. Even the sight of my tears and my begging and crying and clawing will not get you to support the podcast. But if you did find it in your heart somewhere to support us, you can do it over at aapodcast.com/join. You can also go to patreon.com/AAA-podcast. Throw us a couple bones. We will be ad-free. You'll get hentai. You'll get hobby addicts. You'll get... You know what we have. Honestly, just help us out. We're desperate here. The moe to stop having fun. Tell them that a moe girl ain't deserve no love. Let them run the schoolyard, let them play in the band, then stand back and wonder, what the hell is that? 'Cause I saw a young girl, now I understand. That girl was moe, and that just ain't that grand. Welcome back to the podcast.
Oh my goodness,
and
I'm crying. That was so beautiful.
And when we left you, we had
a bell and with the scented candle.
We had a trivia question. In Ranking of Kings, the Sword King is named Ouken, a Japanese compound word made up of O and Ken. What do these two kanji mean in Japanese? Believe it or not, the answer is Sword King, which is his literal name. So,
that's his birth name. That is the name that his father gave him.
He knew.
In Japanese, O is pretty much just like anything that's royalty. Like you hear OG, which is like what, like Prince. You hear like like O-chan, like you hear O-sama, like it's always O, anything means king in Japanese. So, all right, and that'll be $29.99 for that 5-second lesson. Time for mailbags.
It's time for an almighty anime mailbag. Anime.
Mailbag.
I was really tempted to do the same like Candle in the Wind dance that we were doing for that song, but it wouldn't have hit the same way. As we've said 1,000 times this episode, go to AAA Podcast. It's really that easy to remember, folks. At the top, you submit your mailbags and do the Shark Tanks and do everything because we just love it. Please give us content because we're not creative enough
Do it!
to make our own. We've got 2 today that I selected because they're kind of in the same vein. The first comes from Raggedy Doctor. Hey, AAA, what anime always seems to motivate you to get into the gym and kill your workout? For me, Baki always seems to get my blood pumping for a good lift. I look forward to your responses. And the other one...
It's from Yotaru Vegeta, because we can't go an episode without Yotaru Vegeta popping up somewhere. So he says, quick, who is your favorite runner? Is it Naruto, Demonic Akira Fudo, or Ava01?
And these 2, I should say, Raggedy Doctor and Yotaru Vegeta, if you go to our mailbag list and see, it's just these 2 competing for who can submit the most questions. And we love it. We just want more people because variety is the spice of life. But thank you both for your constant and continued questions. Mitsugi, what's your anime to get you hyped? And who of those 3 is your favorite runner?
You know, there's really no anime these days that gets me hyped to work out. There hasn't really been a good like sports anime in a while. I mean, I'm always hyped to be more like Goku, so that's always good. But it used to be Hajime no Ippo that would get me all pumped up. But nowadays, I think I just listen to anime music sometimes. I really love the Fire Force theme.
It's a good one.
Yeah, what the hell is that? What the hell is that song called?
The first one or the second one?
I think it's the second one.
Well, my favorite is the first one, which is Inferno, but the second one I think is like something with rain.
I have to look. I think that's the band. But also, I love the openings of Vinland Saga. I'll throw those on.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Also, just like the Dragon Ball soundtrack sometimes is fun. You know, whatever. As far as their favorite runner or best runner, probably I think Akira Fudo is the best out of those. I mean, he pretty much runs like just like neither an animal nor human. Somewhere in the middle.
He runs like every 6-year-old going up the stairs.
Yeah, that's the best description.
That's really how he does it.
For me, I always listen to a lot of anime music when I'm working out in general. But I guess if an anime motivates me to get to the gym, and well, especially with the OP's songs, you know, helping me be a little bit more into my workout, I think it would be Attack on Titan. Because if I can't continue my jog on a treadmill, how am I going to outrun the Titans? And that is my logic that I run with.
That's a pretty good. Yeah, we like that.
I mean, granted, they don't really run them. They use the ODM gear, but you get what I'm saying. They have to be at least very athletically fit. That's what I'm trying to say. And in terms of who's my favorite runner, it has to be Naruto. Akira Fudo gives me flashbacks to Devilman Crybaby, and I can't do that. I've never been a huge fan of Ava, so can't say that. So it has to be Naruto.
I mean, it definitely is Naruto. Like, he is the most iconic. Like, that's why Naruto running is a thing. Like, I don't know. Like, I'm not saying he's the best runner out there, but if there's one impact anime has had on society, the Naruto run has to be up there. And I echo Mitz. I mean, Hajime no Ippo just makes you want to do, not necessarily lift, not necessarily run, just do and be active and be physically fit. And so, yeah, that's my easy answer for that. So, thank you both for the mailbags.
I just came up with an in-show idea for a future topic. You know how, like, we have the Library of Congress, and they have, like, these specific rules in order to enter things into the library from media and all this stuff that we need to keep safe for future generations. We should do an anime Library of Congress.
Yeah,
and
like
follow
what
all the same
scenes
rules that they
or
do.
moments-
I think they have to be ended with like we can only enter things that have been ended within the last 10 years or for the last 10 years have already been ended, and we have to follow all their rules.
So wait, are you saying submit shows and movies or like moments?
be-
Like the Naruto run has to
I
go
think
in
we
there.
can. I think we can do specific moments as well. We'll figure it
Okay.
out in the future. But I just wanted to put that out there before I forget.
By the way,
I like that idea.
By the way, that OP that I couldn't think of the name is called Mayday.
All right.
Yeah, but you were right. The band is called like, it's featuring a singer by, it's
Cold Rain?
Cold Rain or something like that.
Cold
Yeah,
Rain.
Coldplay. Imagine
yeah.
featuring
all right.
Coldplay.
All right, so this is now the whoopsies. I screwed that up. There we go. I can undo things. So we are now going to do the review of Osama ranking. So strap yourself in for this one. Fall 2021 anime passed by Caroline in episode 601. And
So do I take the reins or do you keep going?
oh no, I mean I can do it. I'm happy to do it.
Yeah, you go. You're
I was
good.
wondering if you were going to take a preemptive
I
victory
wasn't sure
lap.
because I can't say it's a victory lap. It was a group effort, really. I'll get to the reason why it's a group effort later.
Too
but
humble.
you
Okay,
can-
so
Yeah.
you should just say y'all suck. Victory lap.
No, of course not.
The people of the kingdom look down on young Prince Bojji, who can neither hear nor speak. They call him the useless prince while jeering at him. However, he may not be, while he may not be physically strong, he certainly is not weak of heart. And when a chance encounter with a shadow creature should have left him traumatized, it instead makes him believe that he has found a friend amidst those who would only choose to notice his shortcomings. And Kage, which means shadow, by the way, and Bojji are their unlikely friendship lays the budding foundation of the young Oji's. See what I did there? Journey, where he intends to conquer his fears and insecurities, despite the constant ridicule he faces. Bojji resolves to fulfill his desire of becoming the best king he can be. Antics and adventure ensue. Wit Studio, directed by Yosuke Hata, who has done nothing else, which is pretty remarkable. And it's based on a manga. Mitsugi, what were your expectations going into this one? Oh, well, thank you for asking. I saw it has an 8.7 online, so numbers don't generally lie when they get that high. So, and obviously, it was nominated for Best Anime in the Crunchyroll Awards, even though it was only half done. And Mason
People wanted to nominate it for hours, but we told them no can do because it doesn't fit the requirements yet.
watched the whole damn thing first, and then Mason and Caroline both said it was good. So I was pretty sure this one was going to be pretty great. How about you, Caroline?
Well, initially when we were doing our impressions or picking our picks for impressions, I noticed the promotional art with Bojji half naked on a throne, and I thought, well,
Oh.
this ought to be a silly kids show.
My.
And then I think we were even talking about it on the after party when I saw it. And I'm like, what the heck is this? And then Mason told me otherwise. Like, actually, this is bound to be a pretty good show. And I'm like, okay. So I raised my expectations and I put it at the top of my impressions list and I swept it from Mason. So I kind of feel bad about that, but
No,
not
no
really
worries.
because it was a good watch. And so, okay, you go ahead.
Yeah, I had frankly insane levels of hype going into this. I mean, this is a Wit Studio show. This is exactly why I picked Onipan for the next season of selections, because I just like what they tend to do, and they do bold, inventive things, and I like watching their stuff. And I had not watched like any episodes. Like for a while, people were like, "Mason, this seems like your kind of show," and I was like, "Oh, it's probably gonna be good." And I didn't sit on it. I waited. I was a good, patient boy, and I was so excited when it was finally time to watch it. So I had extremely high expectations, and I was fearful it wasn't going to live up to them.
All right.
So finally,
I wonder if it did.
spoiler-free recommendation, Mitsugi.
Yeah, I think I would recommend this, and already have, actually. So it's a pretty great show. It's a very strong... Well, I don't want to get into every... You know what? We can start it here. I mean, I love how this show looks like old school, like Disney, like Sword in the Stone type animation style. Kind of really reminded me of something like that. It's just a style that you don't often see in anime. You know, we're used to the bright hair colors, the sharp angles, you know, all that. This is very different. and it's not like anything you've seen before, probably as far as the design. So it's just very interesting. The narrative is really quite strong. Storytelling is really quite above par, and is one of the better things I've seen in the last year. So it was easy to recommend. I have some friends I always recommend great stuff to them, and this is no exception. So I would definitely recommend it. How about you, Mason?
Okay. Oh.
We're going to Mason next.
Oh, whoa, jumping ahead in the order. Okay. Yeah, I would recommend it. At the heart of it, everyone has seen this story before. Like, it's nothing new. You have an overly good shonen protagonist who overcomes adversity and hardship to grow stronger with his friends. Like, it's a very classic medieval setting. Like, there's a little bit of magic in it, but, you know, it's what you've seen before. It's very much story based of, like, motherly sacrifice and love and friendship. So, like, you've had this dish 1,000 times. The difference is this dish is just infused with love. Like, each scene of the show is an outpouring of emotions that often hit the mark. And it's a feel-good gem. It's got the storybook presentation Mitz talked about. And it just has fantastic animation. I love how it looks. I liked pretty much my entire run-through. And if you want to embrace the feels, witness the majesty of wit animation, and just root for a little buckaroo named Bojji, like... he's a cutie, give it a watch. Like, you'll know within a couple episodes if it's for you or not, but I think it's worth everyone to give a chance to.
Sorry, Caroline, I was reading in the order on the document. So now, would you recommend Ranking of Kings, would you?
Okay. Well, thank you so much for asking. Here's the thing. In my opinion, it's probably one of the newest, best starter anime because it's not necessarily too anime-esque for people starting into it. Like, it doesn't have like that stereotypical art style that like takes people aback. As you mentioned, very Disney-esque, very storybook kind of look to it. It's beautiful. It has some great characters. Bojji is adorable, is best boy without a doubt. And you know, it's overall, it's just such a good anime that doesn't have that too much of that weird anime isms that we as anime fans, we kind of brush past, you know, the big boobs, you know, the weird relationships and, you know, that kind of thing, which this one does have a sprinkle of at the very end, which we won't. We'll get to that later in the spoiler territory, but honestly, it's at the very end. And with all of this other great stuff happening, if you are trying to get somebody into anime, this might be a good choice. And overall, it is a great anime in general. So, of course, I'm going to recommend it.
Wow.
Yay. We like the show.
Three recommendations. Let's head to spoilers.
Spoilers are coming. Oh my god.
I mean, it was okay.
It wasn't the 10 out of 10 masterpiece.
Unfortunately, I have to agree. It is not perfect. And I was looking like within the first few episodes, I'm like, could this be a 5 out of 5? And then as it get on, like there are a couple things that make it not that amazing. Which, you know, shall we start off with some of our drawbacks from it?
I think we can. I think this is one of those shows where it shines so brightly into so many things well that the stumbles that it does have stand out more than they would in another show. Like, we can rip on Platinum End for 30 minutes and we're like, the show is bad, and here's all the way it's bad, and people in our reviews are like, you guys hate everything. And it's like, yeah, because it's a bad show. This show, we're going to be like, I wish they did this, I don't like this. But I feel like overwhelmingly, it was still a positive experience. It just... the small things that keep it away from perfection is that much more apparent. Yeah. So we're going to be harsh on it because that's
we
that's
love
all
it.
I know. But yeah. And but yeah, we can get into where we thought it faltered. I think I would say mostly the second half I thought was significantly weaker than the first half.
Their narrative slowed down a lot in the second half. And
yeah, it was a lot of the same fights
a little
with the
bit in
same
the middle.
people.
Yeah.
About from episodes, well, I would say 16 through 21 was a lot of fighting, and you know, I mean, the fighting is fine. They put some flashbacks in there that were meaningful, but you know, definitely not the breakneck pace, just rolling out of a huge narrative that we had in the first half. But But I still enjoyed the fighting part. I mean, it was enjoyable still. You know, I guess who am I to not want to have a good fight? So I think that's what you're getting at. Am I right?
It was a lot of the same fights with the same people. Then they get hurt, and then they get healed, and then they fight, but for different reasons this time. And then they get healed, and then they fight. And I don't. So I did mind that it was always healed, the same things, and it was over and over. And I get that at the core of this story, what it is symbolizing is you can always forgive people. You can always have family there to pick you back up. You always have your friends behind you. And just because you are down and out or struggling, like there's an inexhaustible force of just goodness to keep you going. And that's what the show is. It's about that forgiveness and love that surrounds you. But as a show, as a thematic device, watching this guy get injured, healed, injured, like it just felt like, okay, we're just chewing up time. And I think had you removed a lot of that, it would have been better.
That and the fact that I think the part that we are mostly thinking about is the point where they have to introduce these new villains from the underworld, like these criminals. And I would say half of them had pretty good backing behind it, albeit it did take a while to get to. And then half of them had nothing. Like, I'm so bored by half of these villains.
Generic bad guy.
Yeah. I mean, so there was that big ogre-looking guy, and initially we were like, we barely even saw him. But then he has this really, very sad and interesting backstory, and you really like him. And then with Oken, he was really boring because it was like the same fight over and over again. But then he has this backstory, which will probably it will probably be touched on in a future season with like trying to get him back to normal. It's just that they had backstories, like some of them did have good backstories. It just took a while to get to, and the other ones just didn't have anything at all. And as I mentioned to you guys in our chat when we were watching it, I was saying like, oh my God, these fights are just going so slowly. And that's because they didn't really have a lot of animation or exciting things happening in them. But then there were several interesting ones towards the end, which they were probably saving their time and money for. So that kind of brought it back up a bit.
The animation was pretty phenomenal. I feel like we'll get to that. I think the problem was a lot of the bad guys, quote unquote, were just the interplay of like, oh, he's like a retainer to the king, like the sword guy, but maybe he's on the bad team now, and now he's on the good team, and now he's on the bad. Like everyone had like a complex web of like what side they were on and for what reasons. That was constantly shifting, which was more interesting than just like you said, these run-of-the-mill villains and they're baddies and they're disposed of, and you're like, why did we spend time with that? But it made everything feel a little bit unclear and messy sometimes.
Yeah, I agree. That's also on my negatives list, is that some of the character motivations are just muddled, especially with Boss. I still don't understand him, like, one bit, because he loves Bojji, but he also slammed him against a wall before healing him.
Boss is...
Okay.
In this anime, Boss is a piece of trash, okay?
Yeah, he is.
I mean, his whole motivation is power, basically, and he wants to be the strongest in the world, even if it means he's going to consume the strength of his child before it's even born. I mean, he's just a selfish son of a bitch. I don't know how else to put it.
But then he doesn't want to be the strongest anymore after he's born because he sees, like, the effect that has taken on his son, which I kind of liked, but also it's kind of... And then he takes over the body of his other son, and then he waits and watches as his wife like almost gets brutally murdered several times, and his friends, and his child. So it's like, surely you don't love Miranjo that much. Surely not.
I mean, I guess I could see, like, this is all, like, the adult world is complex, and these are nebulous motivations as opposed to our pure straight as an arrow Bojji boy. And, like, that is the disconnect, and what would make him such a good king is that he is so pure. But, like, it makes a lot of the other characters frustrating. Like, I liked some of them. Like, I liked Bebin, the snake boy. He always seemed to be... He had his agenda. I could follow his story. I know why he did what he did, and I could grasp it. I thought the queen, Hilling, she was fantastic. Awesome. I loved her as well. Like, Domas, I could see his... he was following the king, but he regretted it. Like, some of them I really enjoyed, but some of them, like, Appius, just...
I found it so enigmatic. Frustrating.
It was just seemed like plot twist for the sake of twist, and it didn't satisfy me.
I appreciate the when it works, it really works. But when it doesn't, it's just kind of frustrating.
Yeah.
But I appreciate the effort they put into it. But with Boss, with Appius, with with Miranjo, I sympathize with her backstory, but it's just not enough to really justify her actions in the modern time.
And I feel like it's all these characters that came up in the second half. Because in the first half, everyone was clicking. You had Hokuro and Domas, and you had Despa and his brother Desha.
Freaking love those two.
And
They're
all their
great
interchanges
great
were
characters.
great. And Bojji was going around. He met some weird like cannibal guy on the cliff, and you were just like, okay, that's a thing. Like, it's an adventure, and you just roll with it. Like, a lot of the show is rolling with the punches, accepting what happens, and being like, cool, adventure, and not getting too into the weeds of it. Because of when they did get into the weeds, it just slowed down to a crawl.
Wait a minute. Didn't the cannibalistic guy that they met in the woods, isn't that Despa's father? Despa's and Desha's?
I wasn't
that the Mad
sure.
King that they
There was
I
a
think
couple
so.
people with those white eyes that King Bo kind of had that going on.
Yeah.
So I wasn't sure. I haven't followed up on it.
I think that was a theory
Like
that
an
somebody
allusion to what it
mentioned
is.
to me.
I could believe it. But Bojji and Kage, they were great. They were a little too chipper, but if you're calling it a kid show, I like them both. They're so happy.
I love them. I love Bojji. Kage is great in places. However, with him, I was kind of hoping that he would be a little bit more, sarcastic or cynical. I just a little bit.
Yeah.
To kind of balance Bojji out. I mean, it's great that he loves Bojji and he's like his best friend and he's going to support him, but I kind of wish that he had a little bit more, not as Genki, Just in my taste.
Genki Shadow Boy. Oh,
but he was voted second place as best boy. Obviously, when I made a Twitter poll, I made sure to say we all know Bojji is best boy, but who is the second best? And Kage, I think he won with 67% of the vote, or maybe even 75% of the vote, or something like that. And then behind him was who else? Oh, Despa. He was second. He was second place. Third place was
he's got that Dunk.
Daida, and then Hokuro barely got any.
This is a show that had a lot of complex characters in it. There were really no black or white, purely black or purely. Well, maybe I guess Bojji really was the only character that was completely white, I would say, but everybody has something for the most part. I mean, the main villain, Milan, I can't stand her name. It's so hard to say. Miranjo. She's she's got a really traumatic past. I mean, she's basically the bad guy, but she's there's a lot of bad stuff happened to her. So you kind of sympathize a little, to an extent. Even Kage has insecurity problems. Bojji had Past trauma from people just being cruel to him. Yeah. The other prince, Daida, he's he's sort of not the nicest at first, and you can tell that he really wants to be king. But then he has stuff happen to him. I just gotta say, I'm on Team Daida, by the way.
I like Daida.
Daida is fucking great. He didn't get enough air. He didn't really have a big enough part in the story.
I mean, it's not his fault that his body got taken over.
Yeah, he got it really bad. But pretty much every character just has something interesting about them that motivates them, and that's a hallmark of good characters. So we get so many shallow characters in anime generally, and this one is just not one of those. What were some of your guys' favorite characters?
I don't know. I feel like I listed most of them earlier. I think the one I had with, if you want to finish, I just want to complain about Miranjo for a bit.
I mean, I can give you guys more time to think, but the only character in the show I really had a problem with was Bojji. I would say. I just had a real. I mean, he basically goes from being the weakest person on that lives. He can't even lift a flower off the ground. He's so weak. To being the strongest person in the entire world within one episode. And
that's
it's just
fine. We don't need to see the training arc.
You don't need to see
it. But it's hidden behind the doors. Kage's what's going on? And you're oh, what is going on?
I guess I just have a hard time buying in when like this little, basically like tiny child is taking on like people that are 100 feet taller than him, and it just doesn't. It was a little tough for me to believe, and he's a little too perfect, honestly. But
yeah, I could see that.
It's like there were a couple scenes where like Kage was talking about Bojji, and it's just like, for God's sake, man, just go make out with him already, because he just won't stop. Just going on and on. But they're still great characters.
Yeah, part of that is just rolling with the punches, being like, we've seen the training arc in 1,000 other shows. I get it's a little dramatic. I get he has no power, but it's one of those shows. Like it's not that big of a thing where I was like, well, I can't believe he's not powerful at all, even if it is a little cartoonish how good he got in such a short time.
Caroline's internet dropped out, so she's
it
going to be back when she's back.
It'll happen. So Miranjo, what bugged me is like I didn't get why, like I know why her like goal was, but she would just like take people over and then watch them beat up the people that she was trying to save and like just not say anything. Or the weirdest thing was, so you want Daida to drink this cup, and in that cup will trigger the process of his father taking over his body. So if you want to do that, you should just say, here's a cup, it will give you immense power. And he drinks it and you're like, LOL, got you, now you're trapped. No, she goes through this elaborate process of showing him King's boss's body.
Oh my God, it was gruesome.
Grinder, and then eaten by like
amazing.
A fucking phoenix, and that phoenix getting burned alive and shitting out an egg, and the egg getting pulverized through like the butt cheeks of another animal, and then that gets like spewed. Like they just went through this elaborate process, and then they're like,
"It's a dad's
hey,
movie.
Drink this." I don't even care what's in that cup. No one's gonna drink that. So that's not how you sell someone on that concept.
You wouldn't drink it, Mason?
I mean, I probably would, because I've never had Phoenix egg, the black ooze, oil tar.
I don't think
beverage.
I would want Smoothie King, and I don't, in general, that's not for me.
Ranking of Smoothie King.
Ranking of smoothies.
Well, Smoothie King is a real thing.
Yeah,
We're
I
building.
know.
The smoothie.
Okay, because I didn't know about
smoothie.
it until one was starting to be built down the street from me, and then
there you go.
it has not been opened yet. But
Like, I get
I
that's
thought
how
that
they
was really
sell
funny.
us on the
Smoothie
world of, like, what magic is entailed and how crazy this world is. But,
Yeah.
like, we could have seen that behind the scenes and not, like, I don't know. Like, that's a nitpick. It changes nothing.
Well,
But,
and
what
I want
did
to bring.
I miss while I was out?
Not
I
much.
complained about Miranjo, and we talked about Bojji getting good really quickly. Didn't really bother me as much as it did Mitch.
Yeah, it didn't really. I want, just following up on your point. Like that's a great example of something that I want to mention before we finish. Today or whatever. Is that there are things about this anime that are very grotesque. Like that scene is pretty gross. And there's other scenes where people are getting like stabbed and bleeding, coughing blood, like whatever.
If you had told me that the OP had a point of view of someone committing suicide, I would have been like skeptical of that. But it's there. Like it's dark at times.
When did that happen?
In the second OP, there's a shot of someone looking over a cliff and then like falling down, and you can see the cliff racing by, and at the very end you see hands come in, and that's like Miranjo's like attempted suicide as a girl before like Boss like ran over and caught her.
Oh, I didn't even notice that in the OP.
It's like it's sometimes hidden, and like Mitt said, sometimes it's pretty blatant of like dudes' feet getting chewed off.
Well, there's some characters in this that are very childish. Like it's definitely, they belong in like a PG Pixar movie. Like Kage, Bojji, Desha, Despa. Like some of these characters are very, G-rated. And then you have sprinkled in like very dark scenes of just violence and blood, and there's a very strange dichotomy there, and I wonder. It bothered me a little bit because I was just ready to hurl my guts out about how perfect Bojji was. But at the same time, if you showed this to, someone who's like 6 or 7, they're gonna love Bojji and Kage, but I don't think they want to see people like grinding up dads into smoothies. So it's like there's a very strange balance of the content level in this anime. I mean, did you guys pick
that
that up?
That might be another mark against the whole best starter anime. Smoothie King did not really give you a lot of faith in this show.
Come on.
But
Doesn't make you hungry?
as a new anime watcher, I guess. But honestly, I did not mind the difference in cuteness and grotesqueness. I really enjoyed it, to be honest.
I feel like there's a scene in every like kids movie where as a kid you're like, I'm kind of scared about this. Well, whatever. Like I'll forget about it and have like nightmares that haunt me. Like that happens. Like everyone watched Indiana Jones and like the dude who's got the heart pulled out of his chest and caught on fire. Like besides that, it's mostly a fun movie of voodoo magic. Maybe not that, but I don't know. I get what you're saying though. It makes it hard to recommend for certain demographics.
But there's just so many good nuanced characters that I just would love to talk about. Like Healing is just a very interesting character in that, of course, initially we all thought like, okay, evil stepmother, got it, we know the whole story, but then we kind of get to know her a little bit better, and she's a tsundere. We'll give her that, and she doesn't really want Bojji to be the king initially, and that's why we all thought, evil stepmother, but she does love him. Even I feel like even more than Daida,
Yeah. No, I thought most of the core group was fantastic, and most of the characters are fantastic. There was just a couple that felt like they took up too much time and I didn't want to see them. And not that it was like, oh, they're the bad people, I don't like them. It was just a lack of understanding or acceptance on my part. But you know what? I forgive them all, because overall it's a good show.
And I really appreciate the fact that they didn't make Bojji up, forgive Domas after what he did, because I thought like, okay, he's gonna apologize, he's groveling, and I guess he does deserve to apologize groveling, but I don't think that Bojji should forgive him. He stabbed him in the back, a child. He stabbed him in the back.
We did see Domas like break his neck though by jumping off the stairs,
and he bounced right up. I can't even die properly.
Bojji had trouble. He was conflicted, and that was a great scene.
Yeah.
And then he still hasn't forgiven him, which is great.
I want to nominate Desha for most likely to be in a Nintendo Mario sequel.
It's either that or One Piece.
Or One Piece.
One Piece.
His friggin' crazy grin. Speaking of Desha, because he was number 2 on the ranking of kings, I think they said. I don't know if there's going to be more of this. I think there is. But
there's going to be more, but it's probably not going to be for a while, because I heard that this has caught up on the manga quite a bit.
Gotcha. But I didn't really particularly think that there was much to do with the ranking of kings in the actual anime.
I agree.
I kept wondering, like, why is this called ranking of kings? Like you could have had the ranking of kings in there anyway, just as like throwaway info on like the quote unquote tier list on who is like stronger than who. But like there was no tournament, there was no focus on it. It wasn't really important, so I thought it was kind of odd to have that as the title.
All we've really gotten so far is that being ranked number 1 gives you access to this treasure trove, of which contain things beyond your imagination, of which could ruin some people. And that's just kind of on the way to select his crowning achievement now that he's the new number 1. But we are not privy to that. There is no, like you said, tournament arc, which is kind of what I was expecting.
Yeah.
So I feel like Ranking of Kings will come, in season 2 if we get it.
In 7 years.
Hey, listen, Attack on Titan had 4 years before season 2, so
Yeah.
And that, Attack on Titan had meaning and stuff beyond the obvious stuff. So I get it. And like I said, Ranking of Kings is for everyone's enjoyment. I was entertained. The animation was absurdly cool. Not so much in the bombastic Sakuga fights, but in the little moments, like Kage just casually tossing rocks into a pond, or like when Bojji starts crying with like his cloth eye patch on, like you can see where it's covered starts getting damp. Like little moments like that where you're like so thoughtful. Or like when Bojji's missing Kage at the end and a cloud goes overhead and it looks on the ground just like Kage, you're like, oh, it's the visage. Like, oh, that's such a nice touch. And like unique angles to present like the size of things and life, and it just looked so good so often. It was awesome.
I don't think that there's many anime that look like this, that really have that storybook feel to it. It is very Disney, but it looks better than Disney to me.
Yeah, there was a strange, I had like Kill la Kill reverberations towards the end. There's that scene at the end where I guess Bojji's fighting the metaphorical form of Boss, even though he's still inside his body at that point. And there's a scene in Kill la Kill, not that Kill la Kill wasn't just like generally well animated, but you know, I remember being a little spotty, but there's a scene.
Definitely had some rough spots.
It's spotty, right? It has some shots where like, holy shit.
Oh, easily.
But then like there's a fight scene in like the Osaka arc where they just fucking throw down and they're like, we're just gonna insanely animate this whole fight sequence. I remember like Ryuko, I think her name is. She's like running like on these buildings as they collapse or something, and it was just like a wild scene of sudden animation. And there's that scene at the end of this anime where he's running towards the camera in a hallway and jumps out of a window feet first and just keeps running, and it's just like, you know, the king like swings at him and he's like running on this king's weapon. Like all this just crazy sudden animation was really quite splendid.
Yeah, I think that's what Caroline was talking about when she's like, where's the animation? It's kind of falling off. And then she's like, oh, episode 21. There it is. But it looked great. And I loved all the parallels. Like in episode 5, I think it is, Bojji is like looking down into hell and it's like, oh, there's a staircase. This will be the way to get power. At the same time, back-to-back shots, Daida is looking down the staircase going down to the underworld, saying like, this is how you get power. Like, and the way that their journeys progressed simultaneously was, you know, poetic in a sort of way. Like, it was a lot of moments like that that really made me appreciate the production and planning and foresight into this. And honestly, the opening, not to go back to it too much, but it choked me up every time. The second one, when it just had all these characters embracing what they loved, from Bebin embracing his snakes, Daida embracing the mirror, Hilling embracing Bojji, Kage and his mother. Like, it was every time it just got to me. It was such a good opening.
Yeah, there's and the first OP particularly has a very the song is good, but it has a very profound musical dissonance. Like in the beginning of the song, like almost none of that sounds in tune, but it somehow works, you know. And it's hard to put your finger on it, and then it kind of just flows out into like more of a normal sort of musical rhythm. But wow, I didn't care for the second opening much.
Interesting.
I actually kind of like the second opening more than the first one.
I just didn't like the song.
Skipped the first one quite a bit. The second one I didn't do as much.
I just didn't like the singer of the second OP. He was very whiny, and I didn't. I
could see that a little nasally for you.
I don't want to hear him wailing, but like but I'm not even speaking about the video, just the music. And overall,
what you said about the first OP probably sums up the show as a whole. Like, it was really great in the beginning. It had some more dissonance in the tone. Got a little typical by the end, but it was pretty nice overall. Like, that's kind of the whole show.
It was just excellent. I mean, Pancake and I watched this together, and she really, really liked it. So I'm sure she would be giving this a 4.5 or a 5 for sure. And you know, we just blew through this. Like, we watched pretty much, I'd say, the last 17 or 18 episodes, like just yesterday and today, and just plowed through it. And it was a really easy watch. Like, it goes quick. You know, I thought it was ridiculous how they just couldn't kill that skeleton guy at the end. The Ooken, like, man.
Yeah. It's
like, and those like tiger, like purple tiger cat monsters are like, they're like main characters in this fucking anime. They're in like so many different episodes, and they just are whooping ass all the time. Oh man, I don't have much else to say. I mean, it's a fantastic show. The storytelling in the first half is fucking awesome, and you know, it's really going to be interesting to see where they take it now that this whole arc is done. So, but I also wouldn't be shocked if it never comes back again, because the ending was felt very final.
I would simultaneously want more, and while there is more to it, I would be like, if someone said there will be no more Ranking of Kings, I'd be like, bummer, but I'm not like, I'm happy where we're at. At the very least,
the ending was conclusive enough.
Exactly.
But okay, so sorry, I don't know if you guys talked about this while I was offline. did you guys
explaining
talk about
to your nephew what was it, tentacle onslaught is?
We're not getting into that. Okay, so did we talk about the weirdness between Miranjo's proposal by Daida at the end?
No, not really.
Well,
Okay,
was
so
it weird? I mean, it was kind of
Miranjo
abrupt.
was a child with, and traveling with Boss and loved Boss, and honestly, it seems like Boss loved her back romantically, which is a little bit weird already. But we didn't focus too much on that.
No.
But then we have Daida, who is admittedly a lot like Boss, and it proposes to Miranjo. She says nothing throughout the entire thing. Keeps on saying, this woman's going to be my wife. And I'm like, I don't know about that one, dog. It's just, I really wish she said no.
I mean, she was cute.
I really do. She's a very pretty woman. But I don't know about that one. Could she have just, like, died and gone to, I don't know, wherever Boss is?
Well,
and
she
not
should
in
have
the
died
devil's
because
stomach? Yeah.
she should have died 'cause she's responsible for an awful lot of trouble. But
I don't think that she deserves to continue trying to atone for her sins in this life. I think she could have just passed.
The show is all about forgiveness, people. That's what the point of it is.
yeah, but
And
sometimes
I could see why he loved her. He's been talking with her. She's been his confidant directly, despite maybe through malicious means, and he felt like he connected with her. And I get it. Maybe, yeah. I don't recall how accepting of his proposal it was. Maybe it's like
she
that.
seems to be just traumatized by being in the stomach of the devil. But yeah,
It's like that meme.
I don't think
It's
she's
like
a willing participant in this marriage.
The beta asks, "Oh, what would you think if I said we should get married?" The alpha asks, "Will you marry me?" The sigma says, "You will marry me." And it's like, it's not a great look, but it's kind of strange. You're 11 years old, my dude. Like, I get that it's a different era and ages are kind of fast and loose in the show, but okay, we're ending it. Done.
I realize you were in the mirror for like a decade and a half, but
yeah, what age does that make you?
some of the forgiveness.
and then there was
is-
somebody in the comments section that was breaking down all the mathematics that he possibly could with all this approximations and reasonings, and I'm like, either way, she's like too old for him, and also was in love with his father.
It's a very fair point to bring up, and something that at the end left a bit of a weird taste. So I think I'm ready to score it. You want to go ahead, Mitz?
Yeah, let's do it.
Yeah, I mean, I think the show is phenomenal. I do think it has some flaws. I love the mother. I don't think we ever mentioned her. She's like one of the best characters in the show, the queen. She is.
Yeah, we talked about her a little bit.
I love how when she heals things, like the flowers bloom around her, around like the magic, and she's just very spunky and willing to like put herself at risk. She's a great character.
Watching her chug like
yeah, she's like casting healing spells, and then like with the other hand asking for like another friggin' giant blue potion so she can just like chug this this liquor or something.
One thing that was missing was the anime alcoholic gasp after doing all that.
Exactly.
They did not do that.
She did
Points
yell
have
out
been deducted.
power.
She was too busy. She was too busy
obviously,
groaning. Like that magic that she uses looks so painful. But
I mean, obviously, her name is Hilling.
There's not much negative to say about this anime. I was a little sickened by how perfect Bojji was, and didn't really buy in fully to how powerful he was. But other than that, the show is pretty outstanding. It did slow down a lot towards the end. It kind of just devolved. There were about 3 episodes that honestly didn't really seem like they were particularly needed. They could have condensed a lot of that fighting into a smaller span of time. So they did waste a little bit of time, but I also respected them cutting it to 23 episodes. It didn't need to be longer than that. So almost perfect. I'm going to give this anime 4.5 diamonds that were created by crushing giant pieces of wood from King Boss out of 5.
Nice.
I'll go next.
Yeah, if you want to go ahead.
So I really love the show. I was even considering giving it a 5 out of 5 in the beginning, but there were some episodes that I felt like, not even as in Mitsuki said, could have been condensed. I just felt like it got a little bit too clip show. Like there wasn't enough happening in the episode that kept me interested. But by that logic, there are several episodes that I just loved. I cried like 3 times in this show at least. And I just love the characters. I honestly felt like there were so many good characters in this show that it was just hard to believe. And overall, would just be so jazzed to hear a season 2 is coming out, because even though Mitsuki's being a curmudgeon and doesn't like how perfect Bojji is, and yes, he is perfect, but I how can I deny Best Boy? I really can't. It's not often when the main character is the undisputed best boy in a show. So I have to give this show a 4.5 Smoothie Kings out of 5.
I love it.
Can I just jump in real quick? I got to say something I forgot to say.
Of course.
Just the hilarity of King Boss sitting there with the other giant and holding
a
Bojji
bean-sized Bojji
in his hand, and it's as if a human was holding half a peanut, like a peanut in his shell in your hand. And I just wonder, like, how does that work anatomically? Did she just sneeze and he flew out of her?
That's what I was thinking.
That was the easiest birth ever. It took like 45 seconds. It happened while she was having a ham sandwich somewhere. Oh my goodness. Okay, that was all I wanted to say.
I also loved Sheena, Bojji's mom, the one that
she's pretty cool.
I loved their relationship.
We see a lot of her, but she's good.
I'm powerful. I'm also powerful. Wrestle, wrestle, wrestle. Maybe euphemism for something else. I don't know, but I thought she was great, and the way she was cracking her knuckles across the shore at Miranjo. Miranjo's like, "There's no need for violence." She's like, "No, I just like cracking my knuckles. Don't mind me." She was great. She was spunky. This show was good. It was emotional. It was inspiring. It was full of charm, and it hit the mark. And it was a breath of fresh air. Boy, I cannot talk this episode, but we're gonna make it. Because just like me, there were some stumbles and scenes at the end that didn't engage with me. The second half was just a bit of a drop off, and while it was satisfying throughout, I don't know. It didn't have some of the. While it was cute and made me happy, it didn't really have the resonance and emotional gravitas that I wanted. What it did well, but from me being persnickety, there was just too many things that salted me, and maybe my expectations were just too high. So I'm going to give this show the big 4, or a crown with 4 points out of 5. It was great, but it wasn't a masterpiece like I wanted. So that averages out to a 4.5 out of 5, which is pretty darn good. That is the best show that we have, or the best score we have given as a group since Odd Taxi. So it is in good company.
Mm-hmm.
And I wonder how it will do for the anime Oscars for this year. But we will have to wait and see.
For a whole year.
Until then.
And I would just say one more thing is that it's very important not to nominate this anime for last year, because, as we've noted, the second half was not as strong as the first half. So it was a much better show at the halfway point, and it kind of went down a little. But don't be too.
This is a strong 4 for me. It was close to that 4.5, but that second half just not saying. Anyway, I've said my piece. Good show. We all like it. Please watch it if you haven't yet. And if you haven't, go to our social media and follow our TikTok. We're doing all sorts of things at _anime_addicts, AAPodcast.com. That's where you can do the Twitter. No one cares about my Twitter. Facebook, Discord, links to everything on our website. The bonus content. There's so much bonus content. You can hear Caroline sleep through us talking about Elden Ring. We're about to do a geography game in the after party. Next week's review, Demon Slayer Season 2. That's the Entertainment District arc. We hope to see you all there. Thank you again, Mitz.
Hopefully it'll be entertaining.
You guys are just the best, and you're a real great co-host, and this is so much fun. Thanks for everyone on Twitch that came out to party. Thanks to everyone who just listens or subscribes or donates or whatever it is. We love you. Have a great week. See you next time.
Bye.
See you later. Bye-bye.